Hello everyone, a very welcome to Vyas Edification Kota. Now today we are going to discuss a new chapter from class 11, that is Morphology of Flowering Plant in the series of NCERT discussion. As we know that this chapter is from class 11, this is the 5th chapter in class 11. The name of chapter is Morphology of Flowering Plant. Now this chapter contains 15 questions total, and we are going to talk about each and every question here in this series. The very first question given in your NCERT in this chapter we have on the screen is, what is meant by modification of root? What type of modification of root is found in banyan trees, turnip and mangrove trees? So first of all, we have to know that what is meant by modification of root. What do you mean by modification of root? So modification of root is morphological and physiological changes in the roots of plants for a particular adaptation. These physiological and morphological changes are known as modification of root. When they are occurring, when the changes occurring in the morphology and physiology of a root in a plant, then these changes are said to be modification of root. These changes are occurring in the roots of a plant for a particular adaptation. These all changes are known as modification of root. If we talk about what kind of modification of roots or what type of modified roots are found in banyan tree, turnip and mangrove trees, then first, if we talk about the banyan tree, then the modification of root in banyan tree is known as prop root. The prop root is a kind of adventitious root. Then, if we talk about the next one, turnip. Turnip have a modification of root, and that is known as napiform roots. Napiform roots are the modification of roots which are type of storage tap roots. The last one, if we talk about mangrove trees, then mangrove trees have also modification of roots, and the modification of roots in mangrove trees is known as pneumatophores. Pneumatophores are the modified roots found in mangrove trees, and these pneumatophores are negatively geotropical branches of taproot. So this is answer, and we are going to write this answer on the screen. First, if we talk about what is modification. First, we are going to write what is modification of root. So, modification of roots is the change occurring in the morphology and physiology. Morphology and physiology of root in plants. For a particular adaptation. These roots in the flowering plants are modified into some other structures such as napiform root, such as pneumatophores. All these are the modified roots, and the modification in the roots of a flowering plant has been done to better adapt in their environment. So these modifications of roots are they occurred due to adapt themselves into particular adaptation or environment. Now we talk about what kind of roots are found in, what kind of modified roots are found in the plants like banyan tree, the turnip and the mangrove trees. So first of all, the modified, we will write like this, modified roots found in, the modified roots found in banyan tree is prop root, which is a kind of adventitious root. Right? Then if we talk about the modified root in turnip, then it is napiform. Root, which is the storage tap root. Then the last one, if we talk about, we have mangrove trees, and we have to tell about the modified root found in the mangrove trees. Mangrove trees. Then these mangrove trees has pneumatophores. As their modified roots. These pneumatophores, which are the modified roots found in the mangrove trees, are negatively geotropical branches of taproot. All right. So we now have knowledge of what is modification of roots. These are the changes occurring in the morphology and physiology of a root in a flowering plant for a particular adaptation. And the question is asking what kind of modified roots are found in banyan trees, turnip and mangrove trees. Then we have answer of this, as we know that banyan tree is having prop root as their modified roots. Then if you talk about turnip, they are having napiform roots, and the last one, mangrove trees, have pneumatophores as their modified roots. So this is a complete answer, this is the complete solution of very first question of this chapter. Now we have question number 2 on the screen, and that is justify the following statements on the basis of external features. The first one we have given is underground parts of a plant are not always roots. The second statement we have to justify is flower is a modified shoot. So first of all, we know that various parts of a plants are modified into underground structures to perform various kind of functions such as stems, leaves, even flowers. So various kinds of parts, various parts of a plants are modified into underground structures to perform various kinds of functions such as stem, leaves and fruits. If we talk about some examples to justify the statement number 1, that is underground parts of a plant are not always root. This is not necessary that always the underground part of a plant is root. It can be stem, it can be leaf, it can be flower as well. If we talk about the examples, then in ginger and banana, the underground is stem. The stem is underground in ginger and banana, and the stem is swollen. The stem in ginger and banana are underground and is swollen because of storage of food. These stems are known as rhizomes, right? So this is the first example that is justifying the statement to number 1, that it is not necessary that any underground part of a plant is always root, because in case of ginger and banana, the parts which are underground and swollen are stems, not roots. And these stems in ginger and banana which are swollen and placed underground, these are stems and are called as rhizomes. If we talk about another example, then we have corm as underground stem which is found in colocasia and zamikand. So corm is another example to justify the statement number 1. Corm is a branched, right? Corm is a stem which is found beneath the soil. Corm is underground stem which is found in colocasia and zamikand. If we talk about more examples, then potato. Potato have stem which is underground and swollen due to accumulation of food. The stem of potato also bears eyes. The stem of potato is underground and swollen because of accumulation of food, and the stem of potato is known as tuber. The tuber of potato bears eyes. More examples of the statement 1 or underground parts of a plant which are not roots. We have onion. The basal leaves of onion are fleshy because of accumulation of food, which are leaves and not roots. More examples for justifying the statement number 1 is in peanuts. You know that in peanuts, after fertilization, the flower is pushed into the soil and the formation of seed and fruit takes place inside the soil only. So these are some examples of various kinds of structures which are underground but are not roots. So with the help of these examples, such as in banana and ginger, we have talked about rhizome, we have talked about corn as the underground stem found in colocasia and zamikand, the tubers and eye of potato, then fleshy leaves of onion, and the flowers which are placed underground and forming fruits and seeds by residing in the soil only. So these are the examples which are justifying the statement number 1 clearly, that all the structures which are present beneath the soil are not necessarily the roots of plant. They can be leaf, they can be flower, they can be stem. So we have justified the statement number 1. Let's come towards the next statement, that is, we have to justify the statement number 2, that is, flower is a modified shoot. Is flower a modified shoot? Yes, it is a modified shoot. We know that apical meristem is present in the stem of a flower. Now, in case of statement number 2, we have apical meristem. This apical meristem gives rise to floral meristem. Apical meristem present on the stem tip is giving rise to the floral meristem. Now, what happens after this? Internodes are lying near to each other when the stems are getting condensed. The apical meristem is giving rise to floral meristem. The stems are getting condensed and the internodes lying near to each other. Instead of leaves, other floral appendages rises from the nodes. Therefore, we can clearly say that flower is a modified shoot. Now, I have brought a written answer of this question number 2 for the students who find difficulty in writing answer in English. So, for this question number 2, we have answer. This one is having the explanation of justifying the statement number 1, that is, underground parts of plants are not always root. Yes, they are not always root. They can be stem, leaf or flower. For this we know that various parts of plants are modified into underground structures to perform various kind of functions. They can be stem, they can be leaves, even they can be fruits. Now, for example, to justify the statement number 1, we have is the stems of ginger and banana are underground and are swollen due to storage of food. They are known as rhizomes. They are known as rhizomes. Similarly, the corm is an underground stem in colocasia and zamikand, right? Then if you talk about the tips of the underground stem found in potatoes, become swollen due to storage of food and are known as tuber. The swollen stems of potato which are placed underground are actually swollen due to accumulation of food, and these underground stems of potato are known as tubers. These tubers bear eyes which are subtended by leaf scar. Another examples we have is basal leaves in onion. Basal leaves in onion becomes fleshy because of accumulation or storage of food. The last but not least, we have another example to justify the statement number 1, that is in peanuts. If we talk about the flower after fertilization gets pushed into the soil and the formation of fruits and seeds takes place inside the soil only. So these are some examples which are justifying the statement number 1, that is all underground parts of a plant are not always roots. If we want to justify, or if we want answer of second, that is flower is a modified shoot, then we have a return answer for that too, that is during the flowering season. We know that during the flowering season, the apical meristem give rise to floral meristem. The apical meristem give rises to floral meristem. The axis of stems gets condensed and the internodes lie near each other. Instead of leaves, various kind of floral appendages arises from the nodes. Therefore, we can call it as a modified shoot. Hence, prove that flower is a modified shoot. So, this is a complete solution of question number 2. Now, we have a question 3 on the screen. Question number 3 on the screen, that is, how is a pinnately compound leaf different from a palmately compound leaf? We have to differentiate between these two types of leaves, that is pinnately compound leaves and palmately compound leaves. So first of all, if we talk about the pinnately compound leaves, then the pinnately compound leaves are the leaves in which the leaflets are attached to a common axis. Leaflets are attached to the common axis and the common axis is known as rachis. If we talk about the example, then we have neem. In neem, you can see the arrangement of leaves is found in such manner where you can see this is a floral axis. This is a leaf axis on which the leaves are attached. This is a common axis. This is a common axis on which the leaves are attached like this. So this common axis in the pinnately compound leaves is known as rachis. Right? So in pinnately compound leaves, the leaflets are present or attached to a common axis. These common axes are known as rachis. The example for that we have is neem. Now let's talk about the another type of leaf, that is palmately compound leaf. In this type of leaves, all the leaflets are attached at the common point present on the stalk. Leaflets when are attached at a common point present on the stalk, then these kind of leaves are known as palmately compound leaves. For example, we have cannabis. Cannabis plant is having palmately compound leaves in it. Let's write the answer. First, we are going to talk about pinnately compound leaf. In this type, the leaflets are attached on a common axis. This axis is known as rachis. We have figure for that, and for example we have neem plant. Neem plant is an example for pinnately compound leaves. If we talk about what is palmately compound leaves, palmately compound leaves. So in this type, the leaflets are attached at a common point, on a stalk, right? In this type of leaves, the leaflets are attached at a common point on the stalk. These kind of leaves are known as palmately compound leaves. Example we have for this is cannabis plant. If you want to draw the structure of palmately compound leaves, then it would look like this. A common stalk is present over there. On the common stalk, we have a common point. Suppose this is a stalk, this is the common point, and on this point the leaves are attached. Like this. These kind of arrangement of leaf is said to be palmately compound leaves, where all the leaflets are attached at the common point present on the stalk. Example we have for this is cannabis plant. So this is a complete solution of question number 3. Now let's talk about the next question, that is question number 4. Explain with suitable examples the different types of phyllotaxy. So first of all, we have to know that what is phyllotaxy. What do you mean by phyllotaxy? Phyllotaxy is just the pattern of arrangement of leaves. Phyllotaxy is the pattern of arrangement of leaves on a stem or branches of plant. Alright, what is phyllotaxy? Phyllotaxy is the pattern of arrangement of leaves on a stem or branches of plants. We have basically 3 types of phyllotaxy, that is alternate, opposite and whorled type of phyllotaxy. If we talk about in detail, then in alternate phyllotaxy, individual leaves, each individual leaf is arising from each node and they are arranged in an alternate manner. The examples if we talk about of alternate phyllotaxy, we have sunflower, we have mustard and also people. Now if we talk about the next one, that is opposite phyllotaxy. In this case, the pair of leaf arises from each node. The pattern is said to be opposite phyllotaxy. The last one we have is a whorled type of phyllotaxy, in which 3 or more leaves arising from each node. We are going to talk about all these in detail by writing the answer on the screen, and also we are going to make diagrams which represents these 3 types of phyllotaxy in plants. So let's write the answer of this question. First of all, we will be writing what is phyllotaxy. Then phyllotaxy is the pattern. Phyllotaxy is the pattern of arrangement of leaves on a stem or branch of plant. So phyllotaxy is the pattern of arrangement of leaves on a stem or branch of a plant. We have basically 3 types of phyllotaxy. So we have 3 types of phyllotaxy. And what are these? First is alternate phyllotaxy. Alternate phyllotaxy. What happens in that? In this alternate phyllotaxy, individual leaf is arising from each node. We have some examples for this, such as sunflower, mustard, people, etc. If we talk about the second one, phyllotaxy, that is opposite phyllotaxy. Then a pair of leaves arises from each node. If we talk about the example of this, then we have example of opposite phyllotaxy. We have guava, right? We have example as guava. The last one we have is vold phyllotaxy. In this, 3 or more leaves are arising from each node. For this we have example Alstonia and Nerium. If we talk about the representative figures of each of the phyllotaxy, we are going to make here like this. If we talk about the first one, that is, there is a leaf stalk. This is a leaf, this is leaf, and here also are leaves. See, this kind of arrangement is said to be alternate pattern of arrangement of leaves on axis. This is alternate phyllotaxy. If we talk about the opposite phyllotaxy, you will find like this is the stalk, the leaves, a pair of leaf are arising from each node. A pair of leaf is arising from each node. This kind of figure is the representative figure of opposite phyllotaxy, in which you can see a pair of leaf is arising from a particular each node. This kind of arrangement of leaves on a stalk is said to be opposite phyllotaxy. The last one we have is vold, in which you will see each node, on each node 3 or more leaves are arising. 3 or more leaves are arising. So this kind of arrangement is said to be vold pattern of arrangement of leaves, or we simply can call it as vold phyllotaxy. So this is a complete solution of this question. Now we have next question on the screen, that is question number 5, and this is asking the defining all the terms, that is estivation, placentation, actinomorphic, zygomorphic, superior ovary, perigynous flower and epipetalous stamen. So we have to define all these terms given on the screen, starting from estivation and ending on epipetalous stamen. So we have to define each and every term given on the screen, and we are starting defining the terms from estivation. Let's talk about the very first term, that is estivation. What do you mean by estivation? The term estivation is referring to the mode in which the sepals and petals of a flower are arranged in a floral bud. So simply, what do you mean by estivation? It is a mode in which sepals and petals of a flower are arranged in a floral bud. This arrangement of sepals and petals in a flowering bud is known as estivation. Basically, we have 4 types of estivation, that is velvet, twisted, imbricate and vexillary. So all these are the types of estivation found in different kind of plants. Now let's talk about the next term, that is we have to define placentation. We have to define placentation. Now what is placentation? The term placentation refers to the arrangement of ovules. The term placentation refers to the arrangement of ovules within the ovarian cavity or locule of a flower. So simply the arrangement of ovules in a locule of a flower is known as placentation. We have 5 types of placentation, that is marginal, basal, axile, free central. All these are the examples of types of placentation. Now let's talk about the next term. We have to define actinomorphic flowers. Actinomorphic flowers are those flowers in which we can find radial halves when any radial plane is passing through its center. When any radial plane is passing through its center or the center of flower, it is dividing the particular flower into radial halves. Then the flower is said to be actinomorphic, same as radial symmetry found in animals. Radial symmetry in animal is when any plane is passing through center, and is dividing any animal into equal halves, then the symmetry is found to be, or the symmetry is said to be radial symmetry. Similarly, if this kind of symmetry is found in any flower, then the flowers are said to be actinomorphic. You can resemble the radial symmetry of animals with the actinomorphic flowers. Then we have the next term to define is zygomorphic. Zygomorphic is also the symmetry found in flowers of a plant, in which you can call this a symmetry in which any plane when is passing through only one center, when only one plane is passing through center of a flower, it is dividing the flower into 2 equal and similar halves. When flower will have 2 similar or equal halves, and by passing only one plane through its center, the flower is said to be zygomorphic. You can resemble the bilateral symmetry of animals to the zygomorphic flowers. The next term we have to define is superior ovary. Now, when the ovary in a flower is present at the highest position, when the ovary of a flower is present at the highest position with respect to all other floral parts, all other floral parts are present just below it, just below the ovary. This kind of arrangement of ovary at the highest position with respect to all the other floral parts, the ovary is said to be superior ovary, and this kind of arrangement of ovary in a flower is said to be hypogynous. The term we refer to this kind of arrangement of ovary in a flower is hypogynous. Now the next term we have to define is perigynous flowers. These are the flowers in which the ovary is present at the same level where all the other floral parts are present on the thalamus. That means the ovary and all other floral parts are present on the same level of thalamus. This kind of arrangement of ovary in a flower is said to be perigynous flower. The last term we have to define is epipetalous stamen. Now what is epipetalous stamen? Whenever the anthers are attached to the petals of a flower, Whenever the filament, whenever the stalk-like structure which is known as filament and is a part of the male reproductive organ is attached on the pistil, on the petals, then the condition of a flower is said to be epipetalous stamen, because the part of a stamen is lying on the petal of a flower. Then the type of a flower is said to be epipetalous, or we can call the stamen as a epipetalous stamen. Now let's write answer of this question. We have to define all these terms. So we are starting just from the one, that is estivation. Estivation. Now what do you mean by estivation? We know that it is the arrangement of sepals and petals, sepals and petals in a floral bud, right? The arrangement of sepals and petals in a floral bud is said to be estivation. We have 4 types of estivation, that is velvet, twisted, imbricate and vexillary Then the second term we have to define is placentation. Placentation. Now what is placentation? We know that the arrangement of ovule within the locule, Now what is locule? It is the another term which we use for ovarian cavity. So the arrangement of ovules within the ovarian cavity or locule is termed as placentation. We have basically 5 types of placentation, but we are not going to write over here. We have to define another term, that is actinomorphic. Actinomorphic. So when the flowers divide in radial halves by passing any radial plane through its center, then the arrangement, then the symmetry of a flower is said to be actinomorphic. Whereas if we talk about the 4th term, that is zygomorphic. In zygomorphic, you will get the 2 equal halves. The flower is divided. The flower is divided into 2 equal halves, by passing only one plane through its center, right? So this is zygomorphic arrangement. Then we have to define the superior ovary. When the ovary is present, at the highest position, on thalamus. In a flower, we can write in flower. With respect to all other floral parts except for the ovary are situated just below the ovary, then the arrangement is said to be superior ovary, and we use the term for this kind of arrangement of ovary in a flower is hypogynous. So superior ovary is also termed as hypogynous. Hypogynous. Then we have to define perigynous. Perigynous. The ovary and other floral parts are situated at the same level, in a flower on the thalamus, then they are said to be perigynous. The last one we have to define is epipetalous condition. What do you mean by epipetalous? Stamen. When the stamens are placed or situated over petals of a flower, then the stamen which are situated over the petals of a flower are known as epipetalous stamens. So this is a complete solution of question number 5. So let's talk about the next question, that is question number 6, and is asking to differentiate between racemose and cymose inflorescence. We have to differentiate between fibrous root and adventitious root, and also we have to differentiate between apocarpus and syncarpus ovary. So first, if we talk about the racemose and cymose inflorescence, before differentiating these two terms, we have to know that what is inflorescence. The arrangement of flowers, the arrangement of a flower is known as inflorescence. We have two basic types of inflorescence, that is racemose and cymose type of inflorescence. Now we have to differentiate between these two. If we talk about the racemose inflorescence, then the younger flowers, the younger and new flowers are arranged at the tip, whereas if we talk about the older flowers are situated at the base of this inflorescence. In racemose flowers or in racemose inflorescence, the new or younger flowers are present at the tip, whereas the older flowers are present at the base of this inflorescence. This kind of inflorescence is said to be racemose inflorescence. Then if we talk about the next type, that is cymose inflorescence, then in this type of inflorescence, the younger flowers are situated or present at the base of inflorescence, of this inflorescence, and the older flowers are present at the tips. Now if we talk about the racemose flower or racemose inflorescence, the main axis continues to grow and produces lateral flowers in case of racemose inflorescence, whereas in cymose inflorescence, the main axis has limited growth and will eventually terminates into flower. Right, so this is the basic difference between racemose and cymose inflorescence. That in racemose inflorescence, the new flowers are situated at the tip, whereas the older flowers are present at the base. The cymose inflorescence, if we talk about, have younger flowers at the base and the old flowers at the tip. The main axis continues to grow in racemose, and the main axis has limited growth and terminates into flower in case of cymose inflorescence. Now if we talk about the differences between fibrous root and adventitious root, we have to differentiate between these two. If we talk about the fibrous root, then this kind of root is found in monocot plants. The primary root, in case we are talking about the fibrous root, in fibrous root, the primary root originated from the radicle of a seed is short-lived. first of all, the primary root which is originated from the radicle of a seed is short-lived and is replaced by various number of roots which are originated from the base of stem. So this is fibrous root and is found in some wheats and cereals. If you talk about the next one, that is adventitious root, these are the roots which are originated from any part of the plant rather than the radicle of a seed. Except for the radicle of a seed, when any root is arising from any part of the plant, the type of root is said to be adventitious roots, which are found in banyan, monstera, etc. Now the last one we have to differentiate between is apocarpus and syncarpus ovary. What is apocarpus and syncarpus ovary? Whenever the carpel or pistil is present in a flower, it can be one in number, it can be 2 in number, it can be more than 2 in number. Whenever we are talking about apocarpus and syncarpus, we always have to remember that we are talking about the flower which contains more than 2 ovary in a flower. Now, the basic difference between apocarpus and syncarpus, as both are the flowers which are having more than 2 ovaries. But what is the basic difference between these two? In apocarpus condition of a flower, the carpels which are present in a flower are not fused with each other. They are present separately in a flower, whereas in syncarpus condition of a flower, the ovaries are present more than 2. The ovaries are present more than 2. But what happens? The carpels are present more than 2, but they are in fused condition. They are in fused condition. Whereas in apocarpus they are separate. Whereas in apocarpus they are separate from each other. In both the conditions, the carpels are present more than 2 in number, but apocarpus condition or apocarpus ovaries are when the carpels are present more than 2 in number but are not fused with each other. They are present separately. Example for this apocarpus condition we have is lotus and rose. Lotus and rose. Whenever in a flower there are more than 2 carpels are present and these 2 carpels are fused with each other. Now they are not present separately, they are fused with each other, then this kind of flower or this kind of ovary is said to be syncarpus ovary. For this we have example tomato. So this is the differences between all these, and I have brought the written answer for all these for the students who find difficulties in writing the answer. So first we have differences between racemose inflorescence and cymose inflorescence. Now see, the younger flowers are present at the tip, whereas the older flowers are arranged at the base of this inflorescence. Also, this kind of arrangement of flower is known as acropetal succession. Whereas the cymose inflorescence is said to be basipetal succession. So in cymose inflorescence, younger flowers are present at the base of this inflorescence, and the younger flowers are present at the base, and whereas the older flowers are present at the tip. And this kind of arrangement is said to be basipetal succession. In racemose inflorescence, the main axis continues to grow and produces flowers laterally, whereas the main axis in cymose inflorescence has limited growth and terminates into flower. So these are the basic differences between racemose and cymose inflorescence. Let's see the next, that is the difference between fibrous root and adventitious root. This kind of root is found in monocot plants such as wheat and cereals. Now, In this, the primary root which develops from the radicle of a seed is short-lived and replaced by number of roots which are arise from the base of a stem. Now, if we talk about the adventitious root, these roots are arising from any other part of a plant for accepting the radicle of a seed, and these kind of roots are found in banyan tree, monstera and some other plants, right? So these are the differences between the fibrous and adventitious roots. The last one we have is the differences between apocarpus and syncarpus ovary. In this, we have more than one carpel present in a flower, and all these carpels are free. All these carpels are free, are not fused with each other, they are present separately, right? It is found in lotus and rose flowers. And if we talk about the syncarpus ovary, the carpel is present more than one, of course, and these carpels are fused with each other. The syncarpus condition of ovary is found in tomato, mustard, etc. So this is the complete solution of question number 6. Now we have a next question on the screen, that is question number 7, and we have to draw a labeled diagram of gram seed and maize seed. Now we know that the gram seed or the grams have monocot seed, so we have to draw the diagram of monocot seed, and in the maize we have dicot seed. So we have to draw the diagrams of monocot and dicot seed. So first I am drawing the diagram of monocot seed. This is the monocot seed. Right, so this is the diagram of monocot seed. Here we have these kind of structures. Now, this is the complete diagram, and now I am going to label this diagram. So first of all, this is the endosperm. This is endosperm of monocot seed. Then we have this part known as scutellum. This one is known as coleoptile, and this inner one is known as plumule. This one is known as radicle, and this last portion we have is coleorhiza. Then if we talk about these parts, right, I am writing the name of these parts over here inside the endosperm. So these are seed coat and fruit wall. And this layer is known as aleuron layer. This layer is known as aleuron layer. So this is the complete labeled diagram of monocot seed or the seed of gram. Now we are going to talk about, or we are going to draw the labeled diagram of dicot seed or the seed of maize. Now see, if we want to draw the diagram of dicot seed, this is the embryonal axis having two cotyledons. Now, this is the simple diagram representing the dicot seeds, right? Now, you will see this is the embryonal axis, these are the two cotyledons. So, these are the two cotyledons. Right? Each cotyledon is having a layer. Which is known as testa. sesta is nothing but the seed coat. This is your seed coat in case of dicot seeds. Then on the embryonal axis there is plumule and radicle, which are responsible for giving rise to the shoot system of a plant and root system of a plant. So at the lower position we have radicle over here. This is radicle, and in this position we have plumule. This whole axis on which the plumule and radicles are present is known as embryonal axis. The plumule of dicotyledonous plants or dicotyledonous seed is responsible for giving rise to shoot system of a plant, whereas the radicle present on the embryonal axis of a dicotyledonous seed is responsible for giving rise to the root system of a plant. So these are the labeled diagrams of monocot seed and as well as dicot seed. With this we have completed the question number 7. Now let's talk about the next question, that is question number 8, and we have to describe the modifications of stem with suitable examples. So we have to describe the modifications of stem with their examples. So sometimes the stems are modified into different kind of structures in plants. Sometimes the stems of the plants are modified into different kind of structures to better adapt in their environment, right? Now, if we talk about the modifications of stems, then we have basically 5 types of modifications or various kind of modifications of stem in case of plants. The basic types, if we are going to discuss, then there are 5. Let's discuss the very first type of modification of stem in plants, that is underground or storage stem. The next one we have is protective stems. Then we have supportive stems, photosynthetic stems, and some other modifications such as runners, offset, etc. So we have various kinds of stem modifications in plants. The basic ones we are going to discuss over here. Let's discuss the modification of stems with the very first type of it, that is the storage and underground stem. The storage or underground stem is the stem modification in which you will find some examples such as rhizome, corm and tubers. You are familiar with these terms, rhizome, corms and tubers. Tubers are the stems, modified stems of a potato. These tubers or the stems of a potato bears lateral buds or eyes. These eyes bears lateral buds, and these buds are going to give rise to new plant of potato. If we talk about the rhizome and corm, which are also the examples of underground or storage stem, then rhizome are the modified stem found in the ginger and banana. The stem of ginger and banana, when gets swollen and is present beneath the soil, these stems of ginger and banana are swollen because of accumulation of food. This is a modification of stem. Then if you talk about the corm, corm is also a modified stem found in the zamikant and colocasia. So all these are the examples: rhizome, corms, tubers. Rhizomes in ginger and banana, corms in colocasia and zamikant, then tubers in potato. All these are the examples of underground or storage stems. Underground or storage stems such as rhizomes, corms, tubers, all these are the modified stems found in various kind of plants. Then if we talk about the next type of modification of stem, that is supportive stem. The example of supportive stem we have is tendril. Now what is tendril? Tendril is thin, slender and spirally coiled structure. Whenever any plant is having slender, thin and spirally coiled structure, that structure is first of all known as tendril. Tendrils are present in the weak plants or the weak stems of a plant. The tendrils are found in some of the plants such as cucumber, melon and some other fruits and other plants of family Cucurbitaceae, right? So this is the supportive kind of modification found in the stem. Then we have next type of modification of stem is protective stem. In this we have examples such as thorns. In plants like bougainvillea and the plants, citrus plants like lemon and oranges, they bear some pointed structures, they bear some pointed and thorny structures known as thorns. These woody pointed structures present in plants like bougainvillea and citrus plants like lemon and oranges, these give protection, these thorns give protection them from the herbivore animals. So this is also a kind of modification of stem. Then we have photosynthetic stem. In photosynthetic stem, we have examples such as opuntia. Now, this is a type of modification of stem. The green leaves in the plant of opuntia are not the leaf. They are just like the leaf-like structure. They are just leaf-like structure, but actually are stem. They are modified stem. So in the plant of opuntia, the stems become modified and are arranged just like leaves. They are green in color. Also they carries out photosynthesis process in opuntia. So this is also a kind of modification of stem. Then the last we have is some other modifications in stems such as runners and offsets. You are familiar with these two terms such as runners and offsets. The underground stems in some plants like grasses spreads beneath the soil and give rises to new plants known as runners. Then if we talk about the lateral branch, the lateral underground branch is offset and is found in some aquatic plants such as Eichhornia. They bear some leaves and tuft of roots at nodes and giving rise to new plants. So these are the modifications of stem, various kind of modification in stems. Let's write the answer. So from here we are going to talk about the modification of stems. Now first modification of stem we have is storage or underground stem. This is a modification of stem. Now what happens in the storage and underground stem? We have rhizome here, we have corm, we have tuber. If we talk about the rhizome, then this is the underground stem. In banana and ginger is known as rhizome and is swollen because of accumulation of food. It is storing food, that is why it is swollen and is known as rhizome in case of banana and ginger. Then we have corm. Corm is also underground stem in colocasia and Zamicanth. This is also swollen because of storage of food. It stores food. Then we have tubers. Tuber is also a modified stem. It is modified stem in potato. This is swollen because it stores food. Alright, this stem is swollen because of accumulation of food. We eat this, and potato is a stem. The stem of potato is known as tuber because it is swollen and is modified to store food in it, right? This tuber of potato bears eyes, and these eyes of tuber possess buds, which is going to give rise to new plant of potato. Then we have next modification of stem is supportive stem. In this we have example tendril. So first of all, these are found on the weak stem of a plant. But what is tendril? They are long, not long, they are thin, slender and spirally coiled like this. They are spirally coiled structures. They are spirally coiled structures. They are found in some plants like cucumber, melon and some other fruits or vegetables of family Cucurbitaceae. Then next type of modification we have is protective stem. Protective stem. For this we have example as thorn. Now in plants like bougainvillea and citrus plants, they bear pointed structures known as thorns, and they provides protection to them from herbivore animals. They provide protection. What is the function of thorns? What is the function of modified stems such as thorn in some plants? They protect, they provide protection to them from herbivore animals. Then the next modification of stem we have is photosynthetic stem. Photosynthetic stem. For this we have example as opuntia. Now this is a modified stem which is green in color. This is a modified stem which is green in color and performs photosynthesis. Then we have the last, that is other modifications. Such as runner. These underground stems, runners are also the underground stems such as in grasses. So these are also underground stems such as in grasses. Underground stems such as present in grasses, spreads beneath the soil, for perennation. Then we have offsets. These are also lateral underground branches and are present in some aquatic plants like Eichhornia and the leaves and tuft of roots present at the nodes of these lateral branches of offset is capable of giving rise to new plant. So this is a complete solution of question number 8 on the screen. Now let's talk about next question, that is question number 9. In this we have to take one flower, each of the families Fabaceae and Solanaceae, and write its semi-technical description. Also draw their floral diagram after studying them. So we have to draw the floral diagrams of each of the family mentioned on the screen, and we have to give semi-technical description of these two families. So first of all, if we talk about the first family, that is Fabaceae family. Fabaceae family is also known as Papilionaceae family. Fabaceae family or Papilionaceae family are the subfamilies under the family Leguminosae. If we talk about the plants, comes under the family Fabaceae. or subfamily Fabaceae under the family of Leguminaceae, then the root is found. The root in the plants of these family are taproots along with the nodule roots. If we talk about the habit, or if we talk about the Phyllotaxy, then the plants which comes under the subfamily of Fabaceae, they are having alternately arranged leaves in pinnately compound. They have alternate arrangement, pinnately compound leaves. If we talk about the floral diagram, let's make the floral diagram of family Fabaceae. This is a subfamily under, this is first of all subfamily under the family Leguminaceae. Right? If we talk about the floral diagram, let's make the floral diagram. So before moving on the floral diagram of the family Fabaceae, we have to know the flowers present in the plants included in the family Fabaceae are bisexual flowers and are zygomorphic flowers. That means the flowers of these plants or such plants are having two equal halves when they are going to divide from only one plane passing through their center. So they are zygomorphic flowers. Zygomorphic flowers are present in these kind of plants. Also they are bisexual in nature. Now let's draw floral diagram. So this is the floral diagram. These I am going to make the sepals or calyx. These are the calyx which are fused with each other, and they are present 5 in number. The flowers of these plants have 5 sepals which are fused with each other. That means gamosepalous condition is present in them. They have 5 sepals or 5 calyx. They are fused with each other and hence they are known as gamosepalous, right? Now, they also have 5 petals or corolla. They have 5 corolla or 5 petals. First of all, if we talk about the arrangement, then the arrangement of sepals, is imbricate. The arrangement of sepals is imbricate. The estivation of sepal, the estivation of calyx is imbricate. Now let's talk about the arrangement of petals or corolla. Then they are present in the vexillary. They are present in the vexillary arrangement, or the estivation found in the corolla is vexillary. First of all, the flowers of these plants are having 5 petals or corolla. So let's make this. And also they are having vexillary condition or vexillary estivation. So this will going to make like this. So this is the representation of vexillary estivation of corolla. So these are 5 corolla or petals which is having vexillary estivation. These flowers contains 10 androecium or 10 stamens like this. One is present over here, one is present over here, and they are 4 present are over there. They are diadelphous. The androeciums are diadelphous. Right? Also, they have only one carpel. They have only one carpel. They have 10 androecium which are diadelphous. 10 androecium which are diadelphous. They have single, that is they have monocarpellary condition. They have monocarpellary condition along with unilocular placentation with marginal placentation, right? They have only one. This is monocarpellary condition, unilocular, along with marginal placentation is present in them. Marginal placentation, right? So this is the floral diagram of flowers present in the plants of Fabaceae family, right? This is the diagram of floral diagram of plants included in the family Fabaceae, right? The flower, if we talk about, is, first of all, the flower is bisexual. Flower is bisexual, zygomorphic. Then it is a racemose condition. Racemose inflorescence is present in them, and all other parts, all other floral diagrams or the flower which constitute all other floral appendages or parts are represented over here with the help of this diagram. Let's talk about the floral formula. If we talk about the floral formula, it would be like this. Then we have zygomorphic condition. The flower is bisexual, right? If we talk about the calyx, they are 5 and are fused with each other. That means gamosepalous condition is present. Then we have corolla, and the corolla is present in vexillary condition. Then we have corolla is present in vexillary condition. One plus 2 plus 2. These last two are fused with each other. Then after calyx, corolla, we have androecium. Androeciums are, I am writing androecium over here. Androecium are 10. Androecium are 10. Then we have superior ovary. Then we have superior monocarpellary ovary, which is having unilocular and marginal placentation. So this is only one. This is the formula. This is the floral formula for the family Fabaceae. Now let's talk about next family. So next family we have a Solanaceae family. This is a family of potato. Now if we talk about some vegetative features, then the herbaceous plants are included in the family Solanaceae. They are having simple leaves. They are not having compound leaves. They are having simple leaves. Now before moving on to the floral characters, we are going to make floral diagram of the family Solanaceae. So we are going to talk about Solanaceae family, and we are going to make floral diagram of Solanaceae family. So first of all, they are having 5 calyx. They are having 5 calyx which are united and persistent, So this is the representative figure. Which is representing the calyx or sepals of the family Solanaceae. They are united and persistent with the estivation known as valvate. So these are the calyx or sepals with valvate estivation. valvate estivation. Then inside they have, first of all, they have 5 calyx. Inside this they have 5 petals or corolla, which are also united. So these are having 5 corolla or 5 petals. Like this, they are having 5 petals, which are also united, right? And these petals or corolla also have valvate estivation. Valvate estivation. Now they are having bicarpillary syncarpus superior ovary along with exile placentation. So they have bicarpillary condition along with exile placentation, and the ovary is syncarpus. The ovary is syncarpus, and they have 5 epipetalous. They have 5 epipetalous stamens. They have 5 epipetalous stamens. So this is the floral diagram representing the family Solanaceae. If we talk about the floral formula, then the floral formula would be like this. They are also bisexual flowers, first of all. Then the calyx, they are 5. The calyx are 5. The corolla are also 5. Then androecium are also 5. The androeciums are also 5, but they are epipetalous. They are in epipetalous condition. Then they have superior ovary, which is 2, and are fused with each other. So this is the floral formula. So we have completed the solution of this question. Now let's talk about next question, that is question number 10. Describe the various types of placentation found in flowering plants. Now, what is placentation? First of all, we know that the arrangement of ovules in the ovarian cavity is termed as placentation. Now, simply placentation means the arrangement, the pattern of arrangement of ovules inside the ovarian cavity of a flower. This is termed as placentation. We have basically 5 types of placentation. The first one we have is marginal placentation. Marginal placentation. In this type of placentation, the placenta forms ridges which crosses the ovary, right? In this type of placentation, the placenta forms ridges which crosses the ovary's suture. We have example for this. First of all, let's write what is marginal placentation. The placenta forms ridges which crosses the ovary, and we have example for this is P. Then the next type of placentation we have is exile placentation. Right, in exile placentation, the placenta is axial. The placenta is axial. And the ovules are ovules of multilocular ovary. Are linked to it. Right? Then we have example for this as lemon. Lemon is a very good example of axial placentation. Then we have third type of placentation, that is parietal placentation. Parietal placentation. In this type of placentation, the ovules are born on the periphery or inner wall of ovary. And we have example for this as mustard. Then we have the next type of placentation as basal placentation. Now in this type of placentation, only single ovule is born over the placenta, which develops on the base of the ovary, And for this we have example as marigold. Then the last type of placentation we have is free central placentation. In this kind of placentation, ovules are born in the central axis of an ovary or locule. So ovules are born in the central axis, right? And we have example for this as prime rose. So these are the 5 types of placentation. Found in the flowering plants. And with this we have completed the question number 10. Now let's talk about the next question, that is question number 11. And this question is asking, what is a flower? Also describe the parts of a typical angiospermic flower. So what do you mean by a flower? What is flower? Flower is termed as, or flower is said to be the reproductive unit or reproductive structure of any flowering plant or any angiospermic plant. So what is flower? Flower is said to be reproductive unit or reproductive structure of any angiospermic or flowering plant, right? If we talk about what are the typical parts of any angiospermic flower, then there are 4 basic parts of a flower, that is calyx, corolla, that means sepal and petals, along with gynoecium and androecium, that means pistil or carpel, and stamen, in which the stamen or pistil or carpel, stamen and pistil or carpel represents the male and female reproductive structures, whereas if we talk about the petals and sepals, they are present into the flower or flowering bud just to provide protection and attracting the pollinators or pollinating agents. Now this flower carries out the reproduction, sexual reproduction in all angiospermic plants. If we talk about the sepals and carpels, they are present separately, but sometimes sepals and petals are fused. They are present in the fused condition. When the petals and sepals are fused with each other, they are termed as perianth, right? So let's talk about and let's write this answer. We are going to write what is flower. Flower is said to be the reproductive unit or reproductive structure of angiospermic plants, right? We talk about the typical parts of a flower or angiospermic flower. Then there are sepals, petals, stamens and carpel or pistil, right? Stamen and carpel represents the male and female, reproductive structures or organs, right? Now, if these sepals and petals are fused, then we have a new term known as perianth. Alright, they both are present in a flower of angiospermic plant just to provide protection and to attract the pollinating agents for the process of sexual reproduction. If we talk about the flower of angiospermic plant, then the flower can be bisexual and a flower can be unisexual. If we talk about the bisexual flowers of angiospermic plants, then the flowers which is containing both type of reproductive structure in it. That means the reproductive organs such as male one, the stamen, and the female one, that is carpel. If any flower is containing male as well as female reproductive organ in it, then the flower is said to be bisexual, whereas if any flower is containing either only one stamen, either stamen or carpel, then the flower is said to be unisexual flower. So this is all about question number 11. Now let's talk about the next question, that is question number 12. So this question is asking, how do the various leaf modifications helps in plant? So first of all, we know that leaves are the vegetative part, or leaves are the vegetative structures of a plant which is concerned with the process of photosynthesis in them. That means leaves are the vegetative structures, they are not concerned with the sexual process or sexual reproduction in plants. These are the just vegetative parts of a plant which performs the process of photosynthesis. That means the leaves are capable of synthesizing food in them. If we talk about modifications of leaf, sometimes leaves are modified into different kind of structures to perform different kind of functions. We have some examples of leaf modifications such as tendrils, spines, and some other modifications as well. So first of all, let's write the answer. Let's begin the answer number 12. First of all, we'll write about leaf. Leaves are the vegetative structures. Leaves are the vegetative structures of plant which performs the process of photosynthesis. That means they synthesize food, right? But we have some modifications. Sometimes leaves are modified into different structures to perform different functions in them. So the first modification of leaf we have is tendril. For that we have example in pea plant. You will see in pea plant the leaves are modified. The leaves are modified into tendrils. The leaves are modified into tendrils. And what they are performing, what they are doing, they are helping the pea plant into climbing. So they are helping into climbing. the plant into climbing. The next leaf modification we have is spines. Spines. Now, in plants like cactus, the leaves are modified. The leaves are modified into spiny structures. These spiny structures in the plants like cactus are acting as defense, right? So these structures are providing protection to them. So these spines act like organ of defense. Then the third type of leaf modification we have is phyllodes. Now, this we have is phyllodes. So, these are the leaf modifications. In some plants like Australian acacia, the leaves are short-lived. In some plants like Australian acacia, the leaves are short-lived and are replaced by phyllodes, which are the modified leaves. These leaves are modified leaves and arised from the petiole of leaf. In these kind of plants, this petiole is performing photosynthesis, not phyllodes, photosynthesis. Right? Then we have the last modification. The last modification we have is pitcher. Right? In pitcher plant, you are already familiar with the pitcher plant. Right? So, leaves in pitcher plant modified into pitcher like structure, which contains the digestive juices, which are helping these plants to capture insects and digesting them. Alright, so these all are the modifications of leaves. We know that leaves are the vegetative parts and they are having the function of making or synthesizing food. They are performing photosynthesis. The main site of photosynthesis is leaves, right? But sometimes some leaves get modified into different structures to perform different functions, such as in pea plant, it helps in climbing. In some plants like cactus, they are helping or acting like the organ of defense. In pitcher plant, they are acting like the juice, they are acting like a pitcher-like structure which is containing the digestive juices and helping they're helping in the capturing of food or digesting the insects. And in phyllodes, the petiole is the structure which is performing photosynthesis. So these are the modifications of leaves, and with this we have completed the answer of question number 12. Now let's talk about question number 13. Define the term inflorescence. Also explain the basis for the different types of inflorescence in flowering plants. So first we have to tell about what is actually the term inflorescence means. Then we have to tell about the basis, on what basis the inflorescence is classified into different types. So first of all, if we talk about what is inflorescence, we know that inflorescence is the manner by which the flowers are arranged on the floral axis, or simply it means the arrangement or the pattern of arrangement of flowers on the floral axis is termed as inflorescence. Now if we talk about the type of inflorescence or what is the basis of inflorescence, before moving on to the basis of inflorescence or classification of inflorescence, we know that the apex of the stem, apex of a stem which is having apical meristem gets modified into floral meristem, which is giving rise to flowers during flowering season. Now, whether the floral axis is continue to grow or whether it is terminating into flower, on the basis of floral axis, whether it is growing or it is stopped and terminates into flower, the inflorescence is classified into two types, that is racemose inflorescence and cymose inflorescence. In racemose inflorescence, the floral axis continues to grow and give rise to lateral flowers. In case of cymose inflorescence, the floral axis, the main floral axis does not continue to grow. It has a limited growth and finally or eventually terminates into flower. So this is the basis of classification of inflorescence. Now let's write the answer of question number 13. First of all, we have to define the term inflorescence. Then simply it means the pattern or arrangement of flowers on the floral axis, on the floral axis is termed as inflorescence. Inflorescence. Now, during flowering season, we know that during flowering season, the apical meristem of stem gets modified into floral meristem. So it gets modified into floral meristem. Now, on the basis of whether floral axis is continue to grow or whether it terminates to flower, to give rise to flower. So whether, this is the basis actually, whether the floral axis continues to grow or terminates into flower. The inflorescence is classified into two groups. The one is racemose inflorescence. The first one we have is racemose inflorescence. In this, the floral axis continue to grow and give rise to lateral flowers. And the next type of inflorescence we have is cymose inflorescence. In cymose inflorescence, the floral axis have limited growth, hence terminates into flower. right? So this is the answer of question number 13. Now we are moving on to the next question, that is question number 14, and we have to write the floral formula for actinomorphic bisexual hypogynous flower with 5 united sepals, 5 free petals, 5 free stamens and 2 united carpels with superior ovary and axile placentation. So to write any floral formula for any of the family, we have to remember what are the formulas assigned to these particular terms such as actinomorphic, bisexual, hypogynous, etc. Right? Now, if we talk about the first one, that is actinomorphic, let's talk about the symbols which are representing all these terms. First of all, if you talk about the actinomorphic, then it is represented as this, right? Actinomorphic condition of a flower is represented by the symbol I have just made. Then the next thing, that is bisexual flower. Bisexuality of flower is represented by this kind of symbol. Then hypogynous flower. Hypogynous flower means the ovary is superior. The ovary is present at the highest position with respect to other floral appendages or parts of a flower, right? So this is a hypogynous condition of a flower, or the ovary is superior, right? And in the floral formula, whenever the ovary is superior or in hypogynous condition, we will underline G. We will underline G. That means the ovary is superior or the condition of ovary is hypogynous. Then the 5 united sepals. Sepals are also termed as calyx, right? Which is known as K. And we have 5 united calyx or sepals. That means they are represented as 5 in bracket. Then we have 5 free petals. Petals are also known as corolla, which is represented by C, capital C, and they are not fused with each other, they are free. So we are not going to make brackets on 5 of petal or corolla. Then we have 5 free stamens. Stamens are always represented as A because they are also known as androecium in case of flowering plants. So we have 5 free stamens, right? A, 5. Then we have 2 united carpels. That means the ovaries are 2 in number. That means the carpels are also denoted by G, and the G is underlined because the ovary is hypogynous. The carpels are 2 in number and are united. The carpels are 2 in number and are united, which is represented as 2 in bracket along with the axile placentation. So now we are able to write the floral formula. Floral formula. Right. So first of all, we are going to take this actinomorphic. Actinomorphic is represented as this. Then we have bisexual condition, which is represented as this. Then we have hypogynous flower. We are not going to write this condition first of all just right after the bisexuality of a flower. We'll take calyx, corolla, androecium, and then we'll talk about the gynoecium in a floral formula. So let's talk about first of all these things, that is sepal. Sepal is also represented as K, capital K. So we have capital K, which are 5 in number, right? 5 in number. Calyx or sepals are 5 in number, which are united, So we'll make bracket over this 5. Then we have petals, which are also represented as capital C because they have another name such as corolla. So C is there. Corolla or petals are also 5 in number. So we'll write 5. But they are not united, they are not fused with each other, they are present freely, they are present separately. So we are not going to make any bracket over this 5. Then we are moving towards A, that means androecium. Androecium is another name for stamen, that means for male reproductive part. They are also 5 in number. Androecium or stamens are also 5 in number, but they are free. they are not fused with each other. So we are not going to make bracket over this 5 also. Then last we have gynoecium, that means carpels or pistil, which are 2 in number. So we are going to write 2, right? They are 2 in number and they are having superior ovary. So we'll underline this. So this is a complete formula. This is a complete floral formula according to this question, and with this we have completed the solution for this question. Now we are going to discuss the last question of this chapter, that is question number 15, and this question is asking, describe the arrangement of floral members in relation to their insertion on thalamus. Alright, we know that on the basis of arrangement, first of all, we know that all the floral parts, including androecium, gynoecium, calyx, corolla, all these floral parts are arranged on thalamus, that means on receptacle. Now, on the basis of arrangement of calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium, all the floral parts, on the basis of arrangement of all these floral parts on thalamus, we have, or the flower is described as 3 conditions, such as hypogynous, perigynous and epigynous flowers. So basically we have 3 types of flowers: hypogynous flowers, perigynous flowers and epigynous flowers on the basis of arrangement of calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium, right? If we talk about the very first type of flower, that is hypogynous flower, we already know that what are hypogynous flowers. In these type of flowers, the ovary is situated at the highest position. The ovary is situated at the highest position, whereas all other floral parts such as stamens, such as calyx and corolla, all these floral parts are present below the ovary. The ovary in this case is said to be superior ovary, right? And the examples for this hypogynous flower we have is China rose and mustard. In the China rose and mustard, the flower condition we see is hypogynous, that means the ovary is superior, or we can say the ovary is situated at the highest position with respect to all other floral parts. The next type of flower we have is perigynous flowers. In this flower, the ovary is situated on the thalamus, right, along with the other floral parts. The other floral parts such as calyx, corolla and androecium are present at the rim of the thalamus. The ovary is situated on the thalamus, but other floral parts such as calyx, corolla and androecium are present at the rim of the thalamus, and in this case the ovary is said to be half inferior. For this we have example as rose. Now if we talk about the last one, that is epigynous flower. In this kind of flower, the thalamus grows around the wall of ovary, and the ovary is said to be inferior in this case. The ovary is said to be inferior in case because the thalamus grows around the ovary of a flower, and all other floral parts such as calyx, corolla and androecium grows onto the thalamus. So automatically the ovary is said to be inferior because it is present just below the other floral parts of a flower. The ovary is said to be inferior in this case. We have some examples for this. Now we are going to write the answer number 15. Arrangement of flower mechanism, right? If we talk about this, then we have hypogynous. First of all, we'll write the answer like this. First of all, we'll write on the basis of arrangement. On the basis of arrangement of calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium on the thalamus, Flowers are described as hypogynous, perigynous and epigynous. So first we are going to talk about hypogynous. The ovary is situated at the highest position, and all other parts are present just below the ovary. Just below the ovary. The ovary in this case is said to be superior. The ovary in this case is said to be superior. For example, we have in China rose and mustard. China rose and mustard are the examples of hypogynous flowers. Then the next one we have is perigynous flowers. In this, the ovary is situated at the thalamus and other floral parts are present at the rim of thalamus. Ovary is said to be half inferior. For this we have example rose. Then the last one we have is epigynous. Now in this, the ovary is surrounded by the formation of thalamus. All other floral parts present above the ovary. In this case, ovary is said to be inferior. Right? In the hypogynous condition, ovary is said to be superior because it is present at the highest position and all other floral parts are present just below it. Then in perigynous condition, the ovary is said to be half inferior, and in the last condition of a flower, that is epigynous condition, the ovary is said to be inferior because all other floral parts are present above it. In this case, epigynous condition, we have examples such as cucumber and guava. All these are the examples of epigynous flowers. Now this is the complete solution of question number 15, and we have completed the last question of this chapter. With this we have completed the NCERT discussion of this chapter, such as morphology of flowering plants. This is all for today. Thank you and have a nice day.